No, people are definitely getting more vocal and people definitely feel like they can say more now. Oh, I saw you following this person. They are not a nice person. And I don't want to leave without regrets. I really like you, but please stop using filters.
Welcome to the Restorative Force podcast, where we believe that it should feel good to be human. Modern life is fast-paced and often unforgiving. It stresses our minds, bodies, and the planet more than it needs to. So through conversations and ideas, our aim is to uncover the roadmap for shifting unsustainable cultures at pace for both personal and planetary well-being. So take a deep breath and join me, Hannah Pang, as we explore the path towards restoration and regeneration for ourselves and the world around us. Welcome to another episode of the Restorative Force podcast. I'm here today with Juliet Angus, who is a stylist and an internationally renowned fashion blogger and content creator. She's a fixture on London Fashion Week's front row, being labeled by industry insiders as a force of nature. She's done some major luxury brand collaborations and was formerly on the UK reality show Ladies of London. Juliet is also a mum to two wonderful kids on top of running her own businesses. So welcome, Juliet. Thanks so much for being here with me.
I'm so happy to be here.
Great. So before we get into talking about your wellness rituals and practices that keep you able to operate at such a high level, would love for you to just dive in, tell us more about what you're doing now and a bit of background of how you got here.
Well, I've always wanted to be involved in television and fashion since I was young, and it was culminated through my 20s. I did TV. I, tested to be an MTV VJ.
No way.
Yeah. So I had an agent at William Morris. I was doing all these things and did commercials. And at a slow point when I was trying to do all this in my 20s, I got into fashion and started my own PR firm with a couple girls in LA. And so it's fashion and television have always been kind of at the core. I love being a personality, a persona, and I also love expressing myself through fashion. And I guess now in my 40s, I'm still doing both.
Yeah. Amazing. And I think what I love talking to you about is how you manage both your successful businesses. You have loads of different kind of products and brand collaborations going on, and also what looks like quite a fun household that you run as well. So can you share any insights into striking that balance between two, what I imagine to be quite demanding roles or parts of life?
I mean, it's been a journey and a process to figure out how to balance both. Some women pick one or the other, being a full-time mom. Some women devote all their time to a career and really are not present at home, so they can be successful, driven, massive CEOs and leave their kids at home. I didn't want to be one or the other. So I've always strived, and not without fails and failure of imperfection, but I feel like now in my mid to late 40s, I figured it out. I think in my 40s, I started to figure it out. I thought I wanted to be successful and be at home less. And I found that my kids were suffering when I wasn't home a lot. The last 5 years, I've really focused more on family. And I do feel my career in those years kind of suffered a little bit and took a little setback. And I find like right now I'm really finding my groove. My household is so happy. My kids are thriving. We have the best relationship. We tell each other everything. There is so much love. There is so much friendship and honesty and open conversation and just love. Like they know it's unconditional love. And I feel with business now, I am way more focused. Instead of spreading myself out, I've learned the power of no.
Amazing.
And I really thought that I wanted to be at every party, at every event, that would make money, that would, give me more of a profile, that by trying to have all these brand relationships would translate into more money. And it wasn't. It was focusing on certain brands that I really wanted to work with and just really honing in on those relationships. And then I started to realize, gosh, I'm promoting so many different big brands and they're paying me to promote their brands. Why am I not doing my own? So I started collaborating a couple of years and putting my name on brands with other brands, and I've been loving that. I get to manage, the harder I work, the more sales that come in, the better my content is, the more successful everything else is. So I guess in the last, I'd say 2 years, I've really found this great balance.
Yeah.
And that came with, which we will get into, a lot of wellness, a lot of looking inward, mind, body, and soul aligning. And it's a process. It's really a process, and getting it right. I think every kind of in my 20s, I found a groove. In my 30s, I found a groove. And you have adjustments. I feel like in every decade with what comes along, I really do feel that there is adjustments that need to happen. And it's just not always like a way of life. I mean, health and wellness is, but, stuff happens, shit happens, and you've got to adjust. And so life is about adjusting with different, I've moved houses, but I moved countries. I moved from LA to Canada, lived in Montreal with Gregor, had Georgina there, built, we had a life there. Then we moved here and started the process over again. I moved here 8 months pregnant, gave birth to Truman, had to find new friends, a new career, a new, set up a household, a whole new life. And so with change comes, I love change, so I'm not afraid of change. I actually really, really like it. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love when things are mad. I see clarity, which most people are not like that. I know I'm quite rare in that sense, but I embrace change, and I'm not afraid to change things in my routine or in my life, or look introspectively and really sit down and look at myself in the mirror and be like, you're not happy. Something's not working. Something's, you want to make more money. So how are we going to do that? You feel like you're failing as a parent. How are we going to change that? I really do feel that I look inward a lot.
Yeah.
I really check in with myself often.
Yeah. And what does that, like, I guess, like, what does that literally look like for you? Like, are there certain practices, or is it like journaling, or I guess, and even going back to what you were saying before, in that transition phase where you were like, something just isn't working to get you to where you are now, where you feel really in flow with career and at home. I guess, was there a specific point in time when you were like, okay, things have to change because this isn't like working anymore? And like, what were the tools or practices that helped you get to feeling a bit more in flow and like adaptable?
I also do think that the change I've seen in the last 2 years is no excuses in routine and working out. Like, I've started to work out every single day, move my body, and it's an assortment. Some people think that they need to do the same trainer, the same routine every single day, and that works for them. For me, it's like Pilates on Monday, Soul Cycle with blasting music and dancing. I miss dancing in nightclubs. That used to always be a release for me. Had to slow down at that. So, on a bike at Soul Cycle, Barry's Boot Camp, again, blaring music, weights and running, going to the park with my dogs. It's really a change, going to a dance class, doing hip hop,
So fun.
staying youthful. I really do feel like, when I say my age, 47 next month, I'm like, who? Me? No, I'm like 38. Like, I feel better. I feel stronger. I like being like vivacious and wild and still going out at night with friends. And I like acting like I'm 20. I love going to music festivals, feeling youthful. Like, I'm not defined by my age and what I'm supposed to be doing at my age. And I do really feel that working out has really helped with clarity and feeling stronger, completely in every way.
Yeah. And I imagine you were talking initially about how expressive you are as a person in your like creativity in your career, so I can see how that then translates to when it comes to what you need to keep yourself like sane and well. That really like exerting energy is quite important, or would be a good, I guess, kind of channel or path for what is keeping you like well and energized.
Yeah, and I'm in an amazing relationship. My husband has never been like, you shouldn't be going out with your friends till, whatever time, and, going for, like, he's never ever judged me, and he knows, and or put parameters on me as this, husband role and work. He knows that we are very different, and I need to release in different ways. Like, he does not like going to music festivals, so I would go with my friends and be totally wild, and I love music. And now I'm doing it with my daughter. My daughter's
So
like,
cool.
she's gotten the bug, and she wants to, it's so cute. And I'm like, I have a
So
new
nice.
festy bestie in her. And and it's not to it's not it really is just feeling like young and fun, and I really do enjoy those things that young people still do.
Yeah.
I'm still young.
Yeah, of course. And I think what's interesting is kind of this feeling of being quite unapologetic about it as well. And like you've just figured out what works for you, and that is what keeps you going, which I think is great, because I find so often there's these constructs or these narratives of, okay, I have to act this certain way in order to be successful, or do these certain things in order to be successful. And what I love about you is you figured out what works for you, and just, okay, let's go and do it that way. So I guess my question is, have you always been this way of like just kind of saying it how it is and like doing what you need to do and want to do?
Yes,
Or is this,
and it's
is this
definitely
learned
gotten
over
me in
time?
trouble a lot of times, but it's just my way of communication. I feel that I need to tell people how I feel, and maybe, as obviously as you get older, maybe you learn, with some candor, like how to do it maybe more politely. But I do really feel that I something is bothering me, I will say it. I don't harbor, I don't keep things in. I feel that that's really good for my mental health too. It may not be great for others, but I think in the long term, we all get to a better place if I just
Put it
let
out
you know
there.
from the beginning. In relationships and friendships, I've had massive fights with my best friends if I feel, that they are being an asshole, and I want the same thing back,
Totally.
I want the same thing back. I'm not sensitive. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm not sensitive, and of course things like hurt me and affect me, but I do find that in the world and in communication, we need to say how we feel and how situations make us feel. And yeah, I've never been someone just to harbor it in. I
Yeah.
think we were talking about this earlier about it breeds different diseases when you hold things in and let them literally eat you up inside,
Totally.
instead of putting them out there to discuss
Yeah.
feelings, emotions, conflict. Again, when my kids come home from school, it's not like, how was your day? It was like, was there anything today that bothered you? Was there, was someone mean to you? Is there someone you like? Is there a friend? It's asking more questions in relationships to for expression, and to not keep things in.
Yeah, and have it not feel as transactional. And what we were talking about before is, yeah, I guess a little bit of that mind-body connection, and how I think increasingly people are discovering how we store and hold emotions in our body. And if you are keeping all of those emotions contained and in and not moving, how they like literally cause inflammation in the body that then often, if it's kind of a chronic thing. If you're like the chronic nice person who doesn't want to ruffle any feathers or say how you really feel, that then leads to chronic inflammation, which then can lead to disease. And I was sharing, I recently read the book The Myth of Normal by Dr. Gabor Mate, and his book talks exactly about that in his practice as a physician, how a lot of the cases that he's seen is people who really hold so much stress in their body and don't work through it. They end up with diseases that they then have to, go and fight in a whole other different way. So really expressing yourself and how you're feeling and being able to work through those emotions is actually really a healthy thing to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of people have had childhood trauma. I've had a bit of that myself, and I've been looking into the Hoffman process, and that's really like going back into your childhood. Like, my parents were working all the time, and I don't think my emotional needs were met. And I feel we also, my parents got divorced, and they didn't speak after they divorced, which caused a lot of trauma for all of my siblings. They they hated each other, and we were trying to figure out how to juggle these like two massive relationships in our lives. And so I do feel like what we're saying is like looking inward, and therapy, getting those things out. Sometimes I'm like, "Ugh, don't revisit." Like, I'm of two I'm of two minds.
Yeah.
Like, battle the Eastern European part of me is like, don't look back, look forward, and you can battle through anything, and
Just tough it out.
tough it out, and chin up, and all that. But then there's also, as I get older, I do feel like there's stuff that comes up that I'm like, that's just from me unresolved. Like, sometimes I like freak out really quickly at my husband and the kids. I'm like, ah! And I'm like, oh my God, that's such like emotional immaturity in this moment. Like, slow down. And I'm like, that's probably because like my parents were like, just stressed all the time, and they communicated by like my dad by shouting all the time. And so I feel like that's comforting, maybe just to shout. And that has been something I've really had to work on. But I'm really looking into the Hoffman process too.
Can you tell me more about it? I haven't heard of it.
So it's for people to shift things in their life. And again, some people come out of it and they their careers get better. It's finding clarity and changing patterns. And
okay.
I'm just really in this kind of mode right now of progressing, of working on myself, of being better and doing better. And I don't know if it's as I'm getting older, or I'm finding that this is the time that I'm gonna like, if it's not now, when? I'm like, I feel like it's no more procrastinating on things. I've been talking about maybe doing this for 10 years, so now I'm like, I really want to do it. It's the Hoffman process is it's a program where you go and you deal with your emotional past, and how the patterns of that still affect you today.
Yeah. And is
It's a
it
deep dive.
is it like a one-on-one thing or a group thing, or is it just like a methodology?
It's a group. It's a process. It's but you go alone, no phones, no. It's like a rehab. It's like a self-rehab.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fascinating. Have you been doing it for long now?
No, I haven't done it yet. It's like you go away. Yeah, I want to do it.
Oh, sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like an expensive adult camp that you go to for I think 10 days. Yeah.
Sounds fun but intense.
Yeah, but I like that.
Yeah.
Sounds
like
like
your
my
style.
two favorite words, fun and intense.
I think, at least for us at RAIN, and one of the purposes of Restorative Force is something that I'm hearing a lot from folks is, in order to really feel like you want to progress and grow and become more successful, there are certain kind of practices that will help unlock your ability to do that. And often, just like pushing yourself super hard is one way of achieving success, but actually like being well can also unlock a lot of performance and a lot of success too. And that's something that we want to dive into and explore more. Is I think there's a norm in our culture where you just push yourself as hard as you can, and that's what makes you successful. And it I just feel like there has to be a better way, a more fun way, a more enjoyable way, and one that we're actually like working more with our bodies and our emotions and our minds and just like how we're built and designed. There's like another narrative that we can go down that actually says taking care of yourself and being mindful kind of quite holistically of your approach to life is actually something that can unlock better performance.
Well, I'm just very aware and I get really emotional about our mortality. And so I'm very aware of the little time we have here. And I don't want to leave without regrets.
Yeah.
And I really do live life to the fullest as I can. And I think all these things that I'm saying are, making sure your family is great. It's a balance, and it is a balance. And to me, family is number one and everything always first. And I look back at some of those years where I was doing the TV show and the kids were little and I had a job at the same time and I was rarely home. And I was like, that's fine. They have, a nanny at home and they're fed and all this. And we still had a great relationship, but like, that was not enough. Like that was not balance. I was making my career dreams come true at that moment. But I look back and I'm like, dang it. I was trying, running and trying to make sports day and all this stuff. I was doing it all, but I have read, recently that a lot of these really successful women CEOs, their one regret in life is that they didn't have enough time with their children. And I do not want that regret ever. I'm very well aware how important, Gigi's going to be going to college in 2 years. Like, we only get, I was just thinking about this, a certain amount of Santa Claus visits that are cute and Easter bunnies. Like, we didn't go to the pumpkin patch this year. They're like too big. You only get so many of these different moments in life that I really seize all of them. The weekends when people ask me to do something or, a job or this, I say, no, the weekends are with my family. And I love it. And I like literally when someone asks me to do something on a weekend, I'm like, no, it's no, it's no, we're home. I don't, I want to be with the kids. The whole weekend. I want family movie night. I mean, now I have a teenager. She's like, I don't want to be home on Friday. I'm like, dang it. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. But it is a real balance of, and I also saw probably some weird TikTok or Instagram about like, how many of us know our great grandfathers and how short, like our life is like everything we're working for, that car that you're busting your butt to pay for. Well, it'll be gone. Our memories will be gone. Our photographs in 100 years will be just will be they'll be ashes. And I think our souls need to be really looked after.
Yeah. And how are you currently looking after your soul? Or I guess even like, what does that mean to you? Like, what is a soul? How would you describe or define that?
I think, like I said, just living life to the fullest, like unapologetically, and full of life, having fun, take the trip, book the flights. I mean, obviously money is such a stress for so many people, but enjoy life where you can, buy the pair of shoes you've had your eye on and figure out, and then, I don't know, don't go to dinner, whatever. I'm like, there's things like balance, but enjoy everything that you like, working so hard, enjoy it. And relationships. I think relationships are so important. I used to think I needed 100 friends and be, wanted to be, I like being the part of the life of the party, but a smaller party. I like being the life of a smaller party now and just really good people. And also, I do believe in that, hanging around people that are doing, great things and being inspired. I feel like at my age too, I'm like watching people succeed and create these businesses. And I'm like, it's making me want to work more and create more businesses. So, having friends that inspire you and, not that ones that bring you down. I feel like I've gotten rid of a lot of friends in the last 10 years that I feel like, I don't know, we're kind of like not cheerleaders for me. And I feel like I'm a friend cheerleader. I really cheer my friends on. I love friendship and relationships. And I need the same. I want the same. I deserve the same.
Totally. It sounds like being social is quite a big part of how you stay well too, which I think is something that people don't always think about when it comes to wellness practices or rituals, but actually forming those really powerful, strong, like respectful relationships is crucial to being well. We're social beings, so it only makes sense, but I feel like it's not as highlighted as often when it comes to conversations around wellness.
Yeah, I just do not like being home and watching TV series. Like, I just am not a person who sits at home. I don't want to live my life watching other people's lives on television. I mean, ironically, that's what I did. I did a reality show about my life, but I want to be living my life. Yeah. I don't want to, I'm not like a Netflix and chill person. I am whatever the opposite is. I'm a go out and not chill person. I really do like seeing the world and going to places, and I really am trying to slow down. And I feel that when I do, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I do suffer. Like when it's
just not for you.
It's just not for me. Like a quiet, I guess, country life. Although I really wish it will be someday, because I do feel exhausted. A balance. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
I want to go to the country house, or I want to I like a balance. I do like go, and then I do have burnouts. You know, so that's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to with working out and stuff. It keeps me at the high frequency starting the day with a good workout. Yeah. I like being energetic. I don't find that I'm, I don't annoy myself at that rate. I'm like, I need it. I feel like I bore myself when I'm chilling,
Yeah. And I guess, so a question that's come to mind when you were talking about being kind of on TV, you're definitely like a public figure. You're have like a gazillion followers. How have you found that has impacted your, I guess, stress levels, or do you feel the pressure of that in any way? Or do you just feel like, that's part of who you are?
Yeah, what's so crazy about social media is that people think they know you so well, and they think they could give you advice. I mean, I have people every day like, I saw you following this person, they're not a nice person, and I'm like, I'm gonna make my own decisions. I don't even know who you are, and it's just this pontificating of other people onto me that I'm like, because I have a very open relationship with my followers. I respond probably way too much, and for a while I was letting other people's thoughts and, their feedback. Oh, and, do you like me? Do you not like me? And it was like such noise that I've had to really put my foot down and just, if they're really trying to govern my life or tell me what to do, it's like, it's a delete and block.
Yeah.
If they don't know that it's just too much. But, I feel like a lot of people are I just can't imagine ever messaging someone on Instagram and telling them what to do with their life. I really cannot imagine what it takes in someone to write and be like, I saw you, or I just want you to know that that's not the way I would do it. I don't know. Okay, well, then go do it differently. Yeah. You don't need to tell me that you don't, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And that's the fine line of Instagram and what really annoys me with being so available and open with my life is that people think that they can then tell you how they feel about your life.
I imagine it's a challenge because on one hand, people feel like they know you so well and you're friends because they are just following along what you're up to and what you think about things and what you're doing. But then on the other hand, I imagine there's also people forget that you're a person and a human with feelings that they don't know as well?
No, they know I'm a human with feelings. They just don't know how to control themselves. And they also have so many of their own feelings that they don't have. They're living through the phone. Mine's like I want it to be an expression. I want you to, shop the fun things that I found because I'm, trying to find the best pair of jeans, the best winter coat and all this stuff. And then, it's so sweet though, too. I mean, the community is really a lovely place. I
Yeah.
mean, people,
Yeah.
one of our dogs is unwell and everyone's like checking in, like, how's she doing? How's she doing? So I feel like I have to like post updates because they're part of my life. And
Yeah. And they care.
Yeah. And they care. There's so many, I mean, I love, there's people I've talked to once a week on there. People think they were like best friends, and that's great. I'm so grateful for that. It's when people start trying to tell me that they think I'm doing something wrong, and I'm like, I
Right.
just look in the mirror, or like, like I just can't imagine telling a stranger or wanting to write something through a phone to a stranger in some faraway land to tell them what I think.
Stop. Yeah, this is
like,
what you should do.
Or like, yeah, like, or I just can't imagine what it takes. And I mean, I don't know. I don't have that in me, but
yeah.
it's finding that gets really stressful on there because I'm like, I don't want to be like, mean to them back because they're clearly going through something where they're venting on me where I'm really not the problem here, It's almost like, so it's just, I don't know if I'm making sense.
Totally. And have you found, like, has your relationship with that evolved over the years as well? Like, at the beginning, did you find that more challenging before you thought, I'm just going to delete and block people?
No, people are definitely getting more vocal and people definitely feel like they can say more now. I used to not, it wasn't this like crazy. It's so funny because I've been doing this for 10 years now and it just keeps evolving. And, in these different, I didn't go to school to be an influencer. It was not, it's different careers. You can say, oh, Anna Wintour, I want to be a fashion editor one day, or, and go work at Vogue. And there's like a process that you go through and the way you do it. With Instagram, I mean, when it first started, people here in the UK thought it was like so cheesy and tacky. And I look at these PR firms now and I'm like, not so tacky anymore. It's kind of your whole entire business now.
Yeah.
It's your entire business is finding how to have a voice and presence for your brands that you represent on social media. And it's taken a while. It's evolved. It's constantly changing. It was reels and dancing, and now it's maybe back a little bit more to photography and story messaging, or a lot of these quotes and how to live life. And I do feel like there's positive things amongst all the toxicity on there. And finding, all of a sudden I'm getting lots of cooking. I've like half of my feed now is because I've been saving so many recipes to cook at home, and
helpful.
And I feel like I'm like, I love this. I feel like this is so. I mean, it's funny because I do spend a lot of time on Instagram for myself and doing my own stories and posts, but I don't really watch what other people do.
Yeah.
But I'm really loving watching all these like recipe and cooking channels.
Yeah, I find it's a very helpful tool.
It
is. If you just have to, I guess, be mindful of how you're using it and you don't get sucked into the toxic rabbit holes that definitely exist on platforms like this as well. But what I'm hearing too is you've always been really good at adapting and making changes, and I know a lot of people find that quite stressful, whether that's okay, the platform has a new feature that we now need to like all of a sudden build an entirely new strategy for because it's completely new, all the way to having picked up your life and moved to different cities and different countries, but just your ability and openness and enthusiasm almost for just adapting and taking on whatever challenge, I find really interesting. And I imagine it's something that a lot of people would find really stressful. So
exhausting.
Yeah, how do you manage the like constant changes in work and in life?
I said I would never be. I was like, when TikTok started, I was like, I'm not going on there. I'm too old for this. Please, like, I'm on Instagram. I just got on TikTok. I have like 20 videos on there. I have like a girl helping me she's 20, to, make me cool on TikTok, or just help me like what we could
Figure it
talk
out.
about and stuff like that. And I feel like I would kind of slough that off as something that I shouldn't be doing. And I'm like, wait a second, why shouldn't
not?
I?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, that's fun, and I'm having fun with it, and it's a lot more work because it's different content to what's on Instagram, so it's like double.
Yeah.
But it could attract different, audience and different followers, and yeah, younger. I don't know. So I'm trying it, and I'm really enjoying it. It's not. I'm not afraid of change, and I think a lot of people are. I'm not afraid of looking inward, reflecting. I went to Kundalini last week.
Ooh.
And I really realized, because I was doing Kundalini every Sunday in my 20s after partying with rock stars and like a rock star in LA, like on the weekend, on Friday and Saturday. And I remember that even though in all this turmoil of like, I mean, it was really, Hollywood, and it was celebrity, and it was all these it was crazy. But I was working, I had a job, and it was balanced. I would go to Kundalini on Sunday and totally recenter my brain and my body and sweat it all out, move and flow all your different chakras, realign them to whatever was happening, trying to find relationships, everything, and start the week out. And I hadn't done it in like the last 10, 15 years. And I went on Tuesday, and I'm like, I need this. I need this. And so now I'm going to go every week. I'm going to go every Tuesday night. I'm going to try to make it into my,
like part of your routine.
Yeah, no, like
weekly schedule.
1 hour on a Tuesday. I may, leave dinner on the table or whatever. Kids have dinner without me, but I felt like I was like, oh my gosh.
So
it
interesting that you
does
came
work.
back to it.
Yeah. And I was like, I forgot that I needed this, or why it worked. And it really, all of a sudden, last week had a really powerhouse week. I felt it.
Really?
Yeah, I really felt it.
Amazing. I mean, either kind of like, would love to hear more about that experience. So going back, being reset, and even just like that experience of reconnecting almost to like almost your younger self when you were in your 20s, and going and experiencing that. And also like, what are the other like day-to-day like wellness things that you do?
Should we talk about how much I love rain?
Yes.
Rituals. By the way, that CBD balm, all my workouts that I do, I cannot imagine that without that in my life.
It works.
So for as much as I say, that I'm like the Energizer bunny, you got to take my batteries out. My batteries don't come out. So, but the rain balm at night really slows me down and helps with my aching joints from pushing my body, some workouts a little bit more than others, and just a little bit goes a long way, and I'm obsessed with it.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. Among other reasons, but I'm obsessed with that product. And the other, the body oil that I love. I'm so about a body oil. I think also like talking about balancing everything. I really look after myself with obviously skincare, nice products. I'm really fortunate that I work in the industry, but again, I try everything. I stick to the good stuff. I do like all natural things. I do like some brands that maybe aren't all natural because they work. A lot of oil and keeping my skin hydrated. I feel like anything nourishing for my body is really working. And I also do like a little bit of trauma to my skin, like microneedling, which is really good because when you do microneedling, it promotes your collagen and stimulates that. So I do believe in investing in good products and taking care of yourself and finding yourself a very good aesthetic doctor for just a little here and there. But I'm very minimal in the things that I do because I don't want to. I do feel like if you like inject your face with tons of Botox and filler. It just stretches it out and it like sags back and you have to put more in. So you see these people that are like, and then like, it's just, they keep puffing out like a puffer fish. And because they've got to put so much stuff in there because they've stretched it out from putting all, so whenever I go, I'm like, it's baby. Just
a little bit.
It's baby.
Yeah.
It's just where, you know, I'm actually looking. I'm like, need a little bit. Oh, see, that'd be perfect. Yeah. I'm really afraid of surgery. I'm not afraid of things in life, but I'm afraid of surgery. Like
I think it's a big thing to do.
I cannot like I would love a mommy makeover, you know, because I work out so hard and my stomach is just like, but after 2 kids, it's like, I don't want a wrinkly, I want a 20-year-old stomach again. But I'm like, I cannot go in and get cut up and look like Jaws took a bite out of me and have this scar from side to side, pay someone. I mean, I don't even know what they are. I think they're like $50,000 or $20,000.
No idea.
But yeah, I mean, I commend women that can, and I know a lot of my friends who have done it, and I just, for as gutsy and ballsy and unapologetic, and you know, I don't care what people think, sort of like attitude I have. I'm like, I'm like kind of chicken shit in that way.
Like it's one step too far.
It's just, and I'm like, I really do wish I could kind of just be like, oh, I don't care. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm really scared of that.
I mean, fair enough. It's a big deal.
Aging gracefully, naturally, you know, I do believe in that.
Yeah.
I do.
That's kind of the question that's coming to mind because I feel like for me, I love my skincare routine. And I think just like the ritual of it's something I do every morning and every night. And it's just like a couple of minutes that feels like, okay, I'm like taking care of myself. But also, and I imagine in the industries that you're in, like aesthetics and how you look are really important. It's like a core to what the industry is. So I guess, do you also feel the stress and pressure of that as well?
Yeah, totally. I have the camera in my face like all the time. Like I was walking here and I wanted to do a story and I was like, oh, I look really puffy. Like I'm like, you know, even like I'm like, can we change the lighting in here? It's like it's all the time. All the time. I'm like, I feel like, you know, I'm on. And you know, and somebody wrote to me the other day, like, I really like you, but please stop using filters. And I was like, listen, if I'm going to talk to you in the morning at 7:30 a.m. before I've had a coffee, I'm going to put a filter on because it's like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to.
Like, you'll just feel better and more open and honest with when talking about whatever.
Well, I just like, it's like, you know, I'm not giving myself a minute to wait. I don't know. I just feel like I like it. It's kind of funny actually too. You know what I mean? It's not cat ears. It's just a little bit of a, I don't know, rosy cheek or whatever the filter is. I've created some. I think they're kind of funny sometimes, you know. I know you're going to say, like, I think can say you're promoting a really toxic, you know, environment. Like, I don't use them all the time. It's not like that's not the lens through which, you know, I look, like you're supposed to look through life. Like, and you know when someone's using one. I mean, I pretty much, you know, try to look the same way. So, you know, it's not like I'm I changed my hair color a lot actually. But it's, you know, I don't even know where I was going with this, but I think filters are fine.
I think for me, I often find I notice a almost measurable difference between before I go get a haircut and after I get a haircut. And like when your hair's blown out, or when I go get my nails done, like I just move throughout the world or move throughout the day differently.
Totally.
When I feel like more confident about how I look.
Yeah.
So I see it as part of how to keep yourself like sane and
I mean, I didn't get my makeup done for this or get a blowout. I literally just brushed. I took a shower. I did that this morning. I did my morning skincare routine and I brushed my hair and I straightened it. But there's other days like I really need to be glamorous. If I'm shooting, if I'm filming, if I'm it's a lot of maintenance. I mean, and ironically, I didn't wear makeup ever until literally my late 30s. Like
Really?
mid 30s maybe. Like I literally started wearing makeup probably 10 years ago. When I
Wow.
started doing TV, I think.
Yeah.
I literally that's when I started wearing makeup. I maybe a red lip, but
Mm-hmm.
and maybe mascara,
Yeah.
but like I never and maybe concealer once in a while or something. But my hair was in a bun. I never blow dried it. I'd let it air dry. I never like curled it. And now I'm like I do my like when I'm going out
Yeah.
to any event or even like most days or if I have like a luncheon or it's makeup, it's blow drying my hair, it's setting it in rollers.
Going back to kind of, I guess, your day-to-day rituals, skincare's one, kind of hair and makeup's one. What else, I guess, like helps you feel ready for the day beyond exercise?
Do you want to hear one of the cutest things in the whole world?
Absolutely.
I start my day with my husband. So I start my day with my husband bringing me my coffee to my bedside table every morning.
What a guy.
So that's how I start my day. That is his ritual for me to show me how much he loves me, and it's like the chivalrous like thing. So I'll be like, "You don't bring me flowers anymore. You're not like when like you haven't booked a spontaneous trip for romantic like all those things. I really need to just shut up on because he does like the most romantic thing in the world for the last whatever how many years 17 years he loves coffee and he loves making coffee, but he loves making it for me too, so he brings it into my first like the way I start my day is with looking at my husband
A little cup of love.
and a cup of Java love. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
So that's a ritual, I guess. It's our ritual. And then, as I said, like doing a workout during the day. I feel like I have some days that I dedicate to full sessions of like emails and catching up in life, and other days that I'm out in the city and meetings and getting things done. Shopping. No, I'm just kidding. I much prefer actually online shopping, but going to see what's out there, walking the streets or going to Selfridges and Harrods and seeing what the stores are carrying. A lot of beauty brands, going into their counters, trying new products, checking in with them. I spend days, and some days I just don't want to leave the house. I need to like focus in on household stuff and organizing my closet, organizing the kids' life, admin, all of that. So it's either, I like days that are either I'm not leaving and my hair is in a bun and I get to be in sweatpants, or the days where I'm like glamorous and
Out and about and
heels to the pavement.
yeah. And then on the flip side of things, given that you wear a million different hats and have so much going on, do you have specific wind down rituals as well for the end of the day to help you, I guess, release kind of whatever life threw at you that day?
Yeah, would it be so terrible to say a glass of wine?
Not at all.
What's his name? Dr. Hubbard, who's talking, I do feel like limiting alcohol is really, I hope we look at, I've been hearing that we're going to look at alcohol the next 10 years the way we've been looking at cigarettes, which I do feel that we all need to slow down our alcohol intake. But I love a glass of wine to at the end of the day. I dinner with the family. We literally do it now. I think COVID taught us that wherever we are, that's like, unless I had with Gregor and I are like tonight we're out with friends, but Truman's also out. Gigi's going to a party. So Friday night is not, is not family night, but tomorrow tomorrow we have a 40th birthday party. Okay. This is rare, but like usually like on Saturday, I want all of us home, and on Sunday but oh God, what was I saying?
Wind down dinner with the family.
Yeah, so winding down, dinner with the family. The boys usually watch football. Gigi goes and does homework, and I just kind of wrap my day. I have to like unwind myself. Is wrapping things up and kind of creating a to-do list for the next day of things I didn't get through. Like I like to just clear my kind of table and thoughts.
Yeah.
Journaling sometimes I like to write, my journaling is more like lists and things I want to get done.
Yeah.
And reading. I have a bunch of books on my bedside table that I need to get through, but I feel like a few, even reading things getting into a good article, like, or
Yes.
something that someone sent you. I'm trying to be better with that. I really am. It's hard for me to wind down. It really is.
Is it?
Yeah.
You have a lot going on. You have a lot on your plate.
Yeah, that's why I like my CBD balm. I think that helps.
Yeah, sometimes you need the support of some all-natural ingredients.
Oh, it's so good. I love that product.
Just we'll get you a vat of CBD balm.
I have a vat. I have an unlimited supply forever.
Yeah, it's very helpful. Okay, I guess like amidst everything that you have going on, do you have any final, I guess, tips or pieces of advice for people who also are juggling a lot, whether that's work stuff, family stuff? How do you continue to feel like grounded within yourself, taking care of yourself so that you can continue to go out and do more?
I really think work out. Go for a long walk. We live in London where there's so many beautiful parks. If you live somewhere else, like go meet a friend and do a walk through a neighborhood or something. I find moving my body just helps so much of in moments when you feel stuck or unmotivated or can't find clarity. I think it does so much. And diet, I think we have to look at like food, what we put into our bodies. I've kind of stopped eating meat. I will eat it, and there's probably like one time during the month where all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm craving, a cheeseburger. I guess I don't say no, but I'm conscious. Like I feel like a lot of, dairy, I don't really, I love cheese, but like I've stopped doing cashew milk and trying to do less oat because I've heard actually oat milk is terrible. But I think diet and changing, and my diet's become lighter. My food that I'm eating is lighter. I think in this country especially, overconsumption of meat is so bad. Like look at the planet, be a citizen of the world. Just be aware of what you're aware of yourself, aware of what you're putting in, aware of the movements you're making, the message you're sending out, and don't be afraid to change. I think what's that saying that like if you change something, it takes like 60 days until it becomes like a habit, and 90 days until it becomes part of your life. It's so true.
Yeah.
I ran the half marathon, I guess like a year and a half ago, and I used to love running. It's funny because running is very much like a mental, like it's a therapy session with your brain, because you're just with your own thoughts, and it's like it gets really boring unless you're listening to a podcast or music, but you still get into your thoughts. And I used to love it, and then I feel like I was just like wanted distraction more than like, and it's hard on the body running, but when I was training for the half marathon, I remember that like, I was running 10K, like, and I was like, what? I could barely do 1K 3 months ago. And I remember like that I really saw it. I really saw in that training where I remember in Hyde Park, when I get to Marble Arch, I was like, and I just say, whatever you do, don't walk. Just keep going. Keep going. Yeah. And that's how I ran the marathon. I never walked for 1 second, no matter how tired. I just kept running. I didn't stop. I slowed down at certain points, but and then when I was like after 3 months, when I got to that corner, I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to do that extra loop today, or maybe I'm going to do. It just shifted the way I thought about it. My body shifted the way I handled it.
Interesting.
My mood shifted the way, and it's like that was so awesome to see how that just changed.
Yeah,
the strength in my body and my mind of like. When I started to get to that corner, I was like, oh, maybe today's the day I'll go like through Kensington a little bit more, or I'll like shift and before in the beginning, I'd be like, I don't even think I'll make it.
I'm not going to make it to the corner.
I'm not going to make it around, and you can see those changes the more you commit to changing and push yourself. There's books you can read. There's things you can sit here and listen to me talk, what's worked for me. But I know I look inward, and I do shift and change things to see what else can work.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to do that. I do think routine is sometimes can be a little toxic.
Yeah. Be open to change.
Maybe it
and
works.
switching
Maybe
it
it
up.
works. What are you going to tell somebody somebody goes to the same office every single day and stuff? I mean, I guess people now work from home, but some people need their routine, but maybe it's what you do after work.
Yeah, or just figure
what
out
you
what
do
works
in the
for you.
morning.
Yeah.
And I do feel like, after a long, busy day, people are exhausted. Like go to a Kundalini class like I did, or go to a yoga class, or go to,
Just like experiment. Like
Yeah.
figure out what makes you feel really good and grounded and present and connected.
Yeah, I mean, go to a Taylor Swift Soul Cycle class, and like if you love Taylor Swift, sing at the top of your lungs while getting a workout, and so you're distracted and having fun and you feel like you're at a party.
Yeah.
So my Soul Cycle, one of my Soul Cycle guys, MJ, does this Taylor Swift class, and actually I've been to one and it's hilarious, but I just signed myself up for one this morning. I'm on the wait list because it's so packed.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what, that's fun, and I'm going to do that next week, because what if, I have so much on. I'm like, I'm going to start it's a Monday night at 6. I'm going to do that because I don't know, I just booked it in for next week. So
start the week off right.
Yeah, like I'm just going to try different things. Like maybe it'll be like fun energy that day, because I know I have so much on throughout the week. So Monday night I'm going to,
Amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out and speaking with me. I think I've really gotten I think wellness can often feel quite serious and quite heavy. And what I've loved about our conversation is how crucial and important like having fun is to being well too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing your wellness practices and rituals and everything that you're up to. I really enjoyed our conversation. So thanks for being here with me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I definitely don't think I'm like the poster for wellness, but I do think I'm a poster for like a happy life and kind of, and making your dreams come true sort of thing. I feel like I really have been blessed to do that. And I hope that any part of this was inspiring to somebody to make a change in something.
And I think just being like clear with yourself as well about what you want and why you want it, and knowing that there's a way to find the balance that you're seeking.
Yeah, I've shifted and adjusted so many times in my life, again, through living in 3 different countries in the last 15 years, to different careers, to motherhood, to back to career, back to motherhood, a little bit more focus, back to career. And yeah, so it's shifting. It's shift shift something if it's not working, and don't be afraid to change something.
Yeah, just go for it.
Just go for it.
Cool. Thanks so much, Juliet.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Restorative Force podcast. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review and share it with a friend. You can follow us at Wellbeing on Instagram and at TikTok. Thanks so much, and see you next time.